Hello, my friend, and I got a question for you. Do you keep your promises? Of course you do. You keep them, most of them. None of us keep all of our promises. This is really true about kids. You ever notice the selective memory of kids? They remember some promises and they don't remember other promises. Like, where's your homework assignment? I don't know, I forgot it. Where are your shoes? What shoes? You lost your shoes. They don't remember anything they don't want to remember. But if you say to them, hey, we should go out to ice cream next week, on Wednesday night, they'll say, last week, 7 days ago, at approximately 3:23 p.m., and I'm going to the record for this, Dad, you promised the entire family would go out to ice cream, and I quote, so, are we going to ice cream, or are you a hypocrite? They have selective promise memory. And so do you, and so do I. You know, the truth of the matter is, I think we have selective promise memory so much that we think God is the same way, that he remembers some promises and forgets others. And I want to tell you, nothing could be further from the truth, especially right now at Christmas. I want you to understand, God is a promise-keeping God. The entire Old Testament, it seems confusing, but it's actually just God making one promise after another to this individual and this kingdom and this group, and every one of those promises he actually fulfills. In fact, all of the promises in their various forms are just one promise. Think about this. To Eve, he said, your offspring will crush the head of the serpent. And then to Noah, he said, I'll suspend my wrath in this age. And then to Abraham, he said, I'll build a mighty nation out of your descendants. And to David, he said, your kingdom will never, ever reign. There will be the house of David and a kingly David ancestor forever and ever. And then there's King Ahaz. You know what he promised King Ahaz? Of course you don't. No one knows this. Because King Ahaz is not Abraham or Moses or Eve. He's not a world-class celebrity of the Old Testament. King Ahaz, he's an adulterous idolater. He's horrible. No one teaches their kids about King Ahaz. And yet he receives the most powerful promise, and it's the promise we hear all Christmas long. He receives a promise from God that is every one of God's promises in one promise. Here's the promise God makes to King Ahaz, Isaiah 7, 13 and 14. Then Isaiah said, hear now, you house of David, is it not enough to try the patience of humans? Will you try the patience of my God also? Therefore, stop. Because you're sinful, because you're impatient, because you don't trust God, because you're far from God, not because you're a great king, not because you're a great person, but because you're trying the patience of God. Therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and will call him Emmanuel. My friend, in amongst all of the activities of Christmas, please keep this in mind. Every promise God has ever made to you or anyone else, he keeps. And he ultimately keeps those promises by sending Jesus, by sending God to be with us, by being Emmanuel. God's not abandoned you. I know Christmas is lonely for some people. I know some people, Christmas is very hard because it brings up past hurts. Remember this, God doesn't forget his promises. He is the God who is with you. And by the way, why don't you spread that to someone else too? Maybe you're doing fine this Christmas. Look around you and make sure everyone near you knows that God loves them, that he is the God who keeps his promises, that he is Emmanuel.